Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. Well, it's that time again where we delve into the realm of potential. Yes, time for more monthly colour readings. I hope you've been enjoying the ones that I have been presenting so far, and I'd be very curious to find out just how it is that you managed with the colour changes that you may have chosen for yourself. I, this month, had the colours blue and yellow, and I certainly had some surprises, which is what those colours tend to suggest. The most surprising thing, of course, was that even though I am a lucid dreamer and still dreamt throughout the entire month, I couldn't remember any of them, which is really quite interesting because yellow is a colour of remembering things. So obviously it was an issue that I needed to deal with. But before we get started today, I'd really like to welcome those of you who are new subscribers to this channel. It's always pleasant to find that there are people who are starting to find an interest in the sorts of things that I talk about. Maybe it's not so much these monthly readings, maybe it's more to do with the films that I analyse, but whatever it is, if I can explore with you the world of colour as I see it, then maybe you too will find an interest in something that you didn't know that you were interested in. For those of you who are regular viewers, thank you from the bottom of my heart for attending. And really, I think it's time that you might like to make some comments. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's happening to you. Let me know how these readings resonate for you. And that way I can be guided into giving more informed opinions of the colours as they turn out. If you're new here, then of course you are also very, very welcome. And I hope you find something here that is of benefit to you. All right, well, this month I've decided to take the oracle called The Treasures of Tikashi. Now, I don't have a box for these anymore. These have been with me for almost as long as my tarot cards and much, much longer than my colour cards. So the box is long gone, but it has some very wonderful messages for people. And I hope that the message that comes out for you resonates with what you are experiencing in your life in the here and now. All right then, well, let's get started. Let's now take a treasure from Tikashi as an oracle to look at people born in the month of June and support their journey through October. And we'll pop that one right there. And now I want a colour reading for people born in June to look at their month of October 2025. And we enter the month with yellow on cyan. We move on to purple on green and end the month with black on red. And the underlying energy is cyan on orange. Well, the only colour here that's been repeated is cyan. And we have it here as the need or drive that comes with you into the month of October, but it's also the activity that you take with you throughout the entire month. So it's part of the underlying energy for the month's reading. Now, the underlying energy itself has orange as the driver, orange as the need, the thing that you require to do. And orange as a need always is a need for confidence. It's a need to be able to survive a crisis. It's being able to stand up and be counted. And when that need occurs, it's because those things are missing. And you're probably in a state of crisis. You have probably been there for quite some time. And in the real world, there doesn't seem to be any end to it. When we have cyan as an activity, it has to do with peace and quiet and harmony, really, even though it might be a crisis. Nevertheless, it has to do with things being stable, ultimately stable. And there are words for that, and one of those is stagnation. There's crisis in the internal world, but in the real world, nothing is changing. And it's almost as though there is a hold on your ability to move forward. Now, in the past, what's happened is that that very same feeling of peace and calm and contentment that comes with cyan has been a need. You've looked for, you've longed for the time when things have stopped moving around you, when things are quiet, and when things are in such a situation where you don't have to worry about everything or anything because everything is exactly the way it should be. Well, the underlying energy here says, yes, you've obtained it, but you've obtained it in a way that makes you feel less comfortable because it's created a crisis. Here in the past, as a need, it just seemed to be something that was pretty unobtainable because in the real world, you were constantly learning a lesson. There was constantly new information coming in. There were things that you had to do. You had to be awake and aware and constantly thinking and remembering. And this mental activity has been absolutely overwhelming. Now, when we take the yellow and the cyan together, you end up with a form of green. And that green means that there have been challenges to your values, to the way in which you view the world. You wanted peace and quiet, you got a lot of information. How does that affect the way that you think about yourself, about your situation, your environment, and about those others around you? Well, as you come into the middle of the month, that very same green has become a driver. Internally, you desperately want a change. You want things to be different. You want to have that change of heart that is potentially here, but is being withheld because you are feeling so discontented internally and externally being bombarded with information. Now you're looking for opportunities to escape. You want freedom. You want to be able to set yourself on a new path and one that will lead you to places that are green pastures. In other words, you want freshness, newness, something totally different from what you had before. And in order to get that, what you've had to do in the real world, and what you will be doing for a while, is absolute chaos. Purple in the real world is child energy. And as we know, children play, but they play by destroying and creating. They are noisy. They tend to make things fall apart. Give a child a bunch of new toys for Christmas, and the first thing that happens is that they start to fall apart if the child doesn't actually dismantle them looking for how it works. So there is this energy here for wanting to get away, wanting to have a new start, and the way to do it is to destroy what was and create something new out of it. This is what I would refer to as my Lego combination, because it does enable you during the month of October to head off in a direction that you've never tried before, and at the same time have a lot of fun, because the green internally is that change of values that you were coming into the month with. And as you entered the month, those values weren't yet set, but by the middle of the month, they certainly are. At the same time, all this change, this disruption, this destruction and recreation of things is actually a lot of fun. Yes, it can be traumatic. Yes, it can be dramatic. But at the same time, there's nothing of the stalemate that you would have experienced back here. This is all novel experience, and it's something that you can control. Now, as you leave the month, we're finding that all of the energy has now become frustration. Green and red are very close to being opposites on the color wheel. The actual opposite, the true opposite for red is actually cyan. But here, green sits next to cyan, and it's fairly close. In some color wheels, depending on which ones you're using, green is its opposite. So we'll accept it as that here. So whereas here you were looking for freedom, now you're looking for restraint. Red says stop. I don't want to do anymore. I've had enough. I'm frustrated. I'm not getting what I wanted. I have tried lots of new different things. I've made major changes in my life. I'm not getting the results I want. That's the message that is coming out of here. And in order to facilitate that frustration, to keep it under control, you're withdrawing. You've had enough, not interested in fighting anymore, not interested in getting involved in new projects or new procedures, not trying to learn anything new. Everything now is a case of, all right, I'll just keep the energy inside, and in the real world, I won't let people know how I feel about anything. Now, red and black together are always a sexuality crisis. Sexuality has nothing to do with sex. It has nothing to do with gender. Sexuality is how you present yourself to the world, how you feel about yourself as a human being, how others see you. It's how you perform as a human being. Now, there are many, many different ways of performing sexualities. And while some people would regard these as the alphabet group, nevertheless, it is a way of presenting yourself to the world as a whole human being. And here, you're actually keeping yourself, your sexuality under control. It's as though you have chosen a particular way of being, a particular way of presenting yourself to the world, and you are very rigidly controlling what that is. Now, how does the underlying energy impinge upon all of this? Well, for a start, if we begin with the cyan in the real world and the cyan in the internal world, what we have here is a case of utter peace and quiet and utter stagnation as well. This is bliss, but it's also the absence of bliss. It's as though nothing needs to change, but nothing can change. And that's part of the issue, why you feel so very, very needful of new information. And at the same time, the orange underneath. So here we have yellow on top and orange underneath. Here, it's feeling as though everything's a crisis. And in the real world, wanting desperately to find a way out of whatever dilemma this has caused. And by learning those new things, moving forward. But at the same time, the cyan on cyan prevents a lot of that from happening. So there's a lot of slow energy at the beginning of the month that actually is holding you back. In the middle of the month, we have cyan on green. Now, these are fairly close together in the color wheel. Green internally, I need new pastures. Cyan in the real world, I think I found them. So here we have the opportunity for you to find the peace and quiet and the contentment that you're looking for. At the same time, you have purple on orange. Purple and orange are both colors associated with crisis and catastrophe. Orange is a need to survive. Purple is destroying something that was in order to create something new. So between the two of them, purple and orange actually create a very uncomfortable situation to work through unless you are happy with the sorts of things that you are destroying. If you are happy that something has gone out of your life and you are now on the path towards something new, which is what the green underneath has to say, then you'll find that being able to survive is not as big a deal. It's not as big a problem. And you will find the happiness and contentment that you're looking for. But it all depends on the choices that you're making up here. Green is about choices and values. Purple is about choices based on experiences. So do the two of them actually create a harmonious whole, or do they create something that requires a great deal of remediation? That's entirely up to you. Here we have black over orange, hiding your ability to survive. There is a great deal of frustration, that not the sort of frustration here we have, we've got too much energy. Here is the frustration at not being able to prove that you can do what you set out to do. There is a clamping down on your ability to stand up and be counted, to be someone who people will regard as being courageous. You're hiding your courage. At the same time, there is the cyan and red. Cyan is the peace and contentment that comes out of containing all of your energy, keeping it under control. And whereas this is sexuality energy, this here is energy of parenting yourself, keeping yourself under control, and in doing so, finding the sort of contentment and bliss and harmony in your life that you're actually looking for. How do we go about helping that along? Let's look at the colours that are missing. You have black, but there's no white. You have red, and you have yellow, and you have green. There's no blue or brown, but you do have orange. There's no grey. You have purple. There's no pink, but you do have cyan. So here we have 5 colours, here we have 7 colours that represent the skills that you'll be working with throughout the month. And those 7 colours enable you to travel through the month from a state of originally being very, very tired and feeling overwhelmed by the fact that there's so much information and you are not finding the sorts of experiences that make you feel good about yourself, through to finally establishing who you are in the world. And those 7 colours will enable you to do so. What is missing are these 5. Now here we have the colours that might assist with this journey by helping to add skills to your repertoire. White is about enlightenment. It's about inspiration, flashes of information and experience that otherwise you would not be exposed to. Blue is about stability. It's about being able to be organized and simply do what is necessary to nurture yourself. Brown is about developing ambitions, about having goals and aspirations and developing the practical skills that are necessary in order to obtain what you're looking for. Grey is about uncertainty and confusion and finding a middle path that heads you in a direction that does not require you to take sides. And pink is about vulnerability. Vulnerability is the need for love. It's also the need to give out love too. So here we have a combination of skills that are potentially available to you if you choose one that is most appealing of those colours and one that is least appealing, and then add those to your repertoire. And instead of having 7 skills, you then develop 9. And with those 9 skills, you'll find that your journey through the month of October will probably be far easier than what these colours here, the orange and the purple, are likely to represent. So let's have a look at what Tikashi has to say on the subject. It's now. Live now, be now, acknowledge now. Now is the only time you need to consider. Unchain yourself from the past, unravel yourself from the future. You are here in this now moment, so enjoy it. Is there something to be done? Stop dreaming and do it now. Interestingly enough, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Stop dreaming about what could be or being afraid of what might be, and instead allow yourself to enjoy what is happening in the here and now. Well, that was certainly an interesting reading. I hope it resonates with you throughout the month, and if it doesn't, come back in a week or so and see what it has to say then. Because quite often we don't recognize all these general readings for ourselves immediately. It's only once we've gone through a few stages that we start to realize that, maybe that was what it was all about. Anyway, until next time, may the colors of your life bring you joy and happiness and all the things that you desire. Until I see you again, bye.